Welcome back, everyone. This week, we're back at the Apex, unfortunately. After so many weeks back-to-back great events, Paris, the Sphere, and UFC 307, we're back to the Apex. It isn't Spivak versus Tybura 2, that's for sure. The main event is actually quite an interesting matchup, and down the rest of the card, there's some really, really good fights as well. So even though we're back to the Apex, and there's always a bit of a come down coming back to the Apex, these sort of cards, how bloated the UFC is now and the demands that they have to keep up with in terms of events per year for ESPN, this is the result that you get, unfortunately. Nonetheless, we're going to tune in, break down all these fights on this card, because like I said, there's actually some really, really interesting matchups scattered up and down this card. So like I said, for a fight night card at the Apex, this actually has some really good talent on there. Not the biggest names. You're never going to have real big names on the Apex unless it's in the main event. This time we have up-and-coming talent all over the card, like usual. This time in the main event, Brandon Royval is looking to take on Tatsuro Taira, who's a really, really promising prospect in the flyweight division. Taira's coming in 6-0 in the UFC. He's looked really, really impressive, super put together for a young prospect, and his grappling and control is top notch. On the other side, Brandon Royval, he's in a really strange position in his career. He has had 2 cracks at the title now. He's always been lingering around the top of this division, put on really, really exciting fights, and to be honest, only really, really lost to the best. You know, he's not losing to these guys below the champion or the top contenders in the division. He's always super exciting to watch. His style, his creativity, and his flow in there is what makes the guy so unique. You know, how he's able to just put stuff together. The flying knee he hit Nicolau with off that punch. Beautiful, beautiful. His fight with Kai Kara-France, as long as that one lasted, was absolutely crazy. He's really good at getting these guys to have a firefight with him, to trade, and in that chaos is where he absolutely thrives. It's a bit of an interesting clash of styles because Taira, you know, I think has a pretty clear path to victory here, getting the fight to the ground and controlling Brandon Royval. Yes, Royval has really good submissions off his back, and like I said, he's very creative in every position that the fight goes to. Taira has stronger fundamental grappling, and that stronger fundamental grappling base, I think he'll be able to stick out of trouble on the ground, get to good positions, and start to employ some good control and ground and pound, and even look for his own sub attempts because the guy's really, really slick on the ground. With all of that being said, though, I think Brandon Royval is levels above on the feet. In terms of the creativity and the flow that he brings to the striking game, it's pretty much unmatched in that division. The way he's able to find stuff in really weird angles, create chaos, like we said, and thrive in that. Drag you into the chaos and really, really hurt you. The guy has amazing finishing instincts, especially for this division. You know, you don't really see many dynamic finishers like this guy in the flyweight division. It's something that makes him really, really special. And I think Taira will have to be really, really careful for as long as this fight takes place on the feet. Because like I said, Royval can find stuff from super weird angles and all of a sudden you're hurt, backing up, and then the fight's over. I think if Taira gets hurt on the feet, he could shoot and put himself into a bad position potentially. And I think that's where Royval's grappling is going to come into play. He's really good at just jumping on stuff, you know, the club and sub. When he's got your guy hurt, he's really good at finding the neck on a bad shot, you know, and then employing his grappling that way. So I can see Taira, if he gets clipped and hurt on the feet and puts himself into a bad position, I think he could get his neck snatched up. So, you know, that's what makes this matchup so interesting. You could tell Taira has a bit of a clear advantage on the ground. His ability to get it to the ground as well is great. But like we've said, if Royval's on with the distance management, and he starts putting stuff out there quick, going first and third, I can see him winning this fight as well. So super interesting fight, bit of a crossroads one in this division. Taira looking to make it 7-0. And if he does that, you know, we're talking title shot next. And the guy out of Japan is a super, super promising prospect. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what happens in this main event. Brandon Royval is always so fun to watch, and over 5 rounds, I don't think it could be anything but exciting. Actually, that's not true. If Tatsuro Taira controls Royval for 5 rounds, I can tell you it's not going to be that exciting at all. Brad Tavares in the co-main event against Jung Yong Park. This fight is, two guys who have a lot of experience, not only in their careers respectively, but also in the UFC. Brad Tavares has fought absolutely everyone in this division. His strength of schedule, he doesn't win them all, but God, he's just a savage. He'll fight anyone, dude. And, this is another example of that. It's a really interesting clash of styles because obviously Jung Yong Park wants to get this fight to the ground. He has a really, really great cardio base. His gas tank, his ability to overwhelm these guys, finish them, drown them is pretty spectacular. But Brad Tavares has gone with absolutely everyone. His experience is going to be such a valuable tool for him in this fight. So interesting fight. Tavares is still hanging around in this division. The guy's an absolute warrior. I always like watching Brad Tavares fight because, like I said, he's happy to fight anyone, which makes for really, really awesome stylistic matchups every time that he's out there. 2 promising lightweights. Lightweight is such a stacked division. These guys are unranked, out of the top 15. You have Grant Dawson and Garcia. Both really, really special talents. Amazing cardio base on both of them. They both push a great pace. Dawson's more grappling heavy, whereas Garcia is happy to mix it up a little bit more. He trains with Gaethje, those guys out of Colorado, so he's happy under fire. Dawson, you've seen, can get cracked on the feet. Bobby Green's special in the fact that his accuracy and timing is, much different from a lot of these other guys, and he was able to find Dawson's chin and put him out real quick. Dawson has rebuilt since then, and this is a fight where I think it's going to be tough for both guys. Dawson had to show his grit in his last fight against Joe Solecki, but he won every round there, overwhelmed him. I think Garcia is going to really, really need to get Dawson's respect early on the feet to have success in this matchup. Because like I said, they both have great tanks. Once Dawson gets you down, it's so hard to move and get up from that guy. So I think Garcia needs to get some respect on the feet and maybe get Dawson panic shooting a little bit, where Garcia can start to implore his pace and start to make Dawson tired. So I think this is going to be a really, really special fight. Fast pace, like I said, both of these guys have amazing cardio bases and they're happy to leave it all out there. So this is going to be a really, really interesting fight, and I'm looking forward to seeing if Garcia can continue to rise in this division, because we know Dawson's potential, but Garcia's pretty slept on, and I think he's really, really talented, so watch out. D-Rod, one of my favorite guys in the division. He's always so fun to watch, His striking style is awesome. He apparently is 200-0 in like prison and street fights, and you can tell in the octagon, the guy just fights so mean. He looks like he's really powerful and everything he throws just hurts. Even if it doesn't look so flashy, he has nice fundamentals on the feet, kickboxing wise. I thought he didn't let it go as much as he needed to in his last fight against Kelvin, and clearly the wrestling and the grappling defense is his biggest weakness, because a few guys have been able to exploit that now in the UFC. This fight, though, I think will be more based on the feet. Both of these guys happy to strike. Although Morono has a really good grappling game, he's a black belt, he likes being in fist fights. And I think that is going to be a detriment to him in this fight. I don't think he should try and get into a firefight with D-Rod, because that's where that guy thrives. He's really, really good in a brawl. And once he's got his range management, working with the leg kicks into those big left hooks, it's going to be dangerous. And I think he can really hurt Morono if he connects. So I think Morono should try and get this fight to the ground. Will he? That's another question, because the guy's known to make questionable decisions in the octagon and get KO'd for it. So is that going to be another example here? We'll have to find out. But he does have the skills to get it to the ground and to have good success there. I think he can win this fight if he goes to the ground. That's up to him, though, because D-Rod, he's going to be fresh for a round and a half, 2 rounds. He'll be harder to take down in that first round. And if you can get him into a brawl, start putting some damage on him, it's his fight to lose. Josh Fremd versus Abdul Razak Alhassan. What can you say about Alhassan apart from just marveling at the guy? He is absolutely stacked. He would be such a handful to fight in that division. I cannot imagine having to deal with that power. Yes, he's pretty short and maybe undersized by some guys, but he's an absolute powerhouse. And Fremd better start shooting because he's going to get really, really hurt on the feet if he doesn't. Alhassan's shown to slow down and fight, so, Fremd could have some success there. He's going to have to go through absolute hell to make Alhassan tired. So I don't know if Josh Fremd has the will and the durability to do that. We'll see, though. We'll see. Alhassan has been very hit and miss in the UFC so far, so interesting fight. Crazy clash of styles. Josh Fremd, please shoot, my brother. Please shoot. There's some really, really fun names as well down scattered in the prelims. Niko Price, always super exciting to watch. Pat Sabatini, Jonathan Pierce is going to be a really, really good fight at 145. Keep your eye out for that because those guys, both of them push a great pace, and I think they're matched up super well in that fight. Chris Barnett, if you guys haven't seen Chris Barnett's spinning hook kick on Jan Vellante, go check that out because that is one of the craziest knockouts you will ever see. He's back this weekend as well. He's been quite inactive, but it's always so hilarious and entertaining to watch that guy fight. He always pulls something funny out of the bag. So he's got an interesting matchup against Tuffer because although Tuffer's, been sort of exposed in the UFC, the guy's a great kickboxer. So interesting fight. Barnett, he's a tiny little heavyweight, but he does some of the wildest stuff in there. So I'm super interested to see him back as well this weekend. Guys, mark my words, Cody Haddon is going far in this division. A few weeks ago, Cody Haddon made his Contender Series debut and won a contract in beautiful fashion with a first round KO. I've been watching Cody Haddon for a long time. This guy is an absolute savage. No one wanted to fight him in Australia. He's a Golden Gloves champion when he was younger and, did some really awesome things in the jiu-jitsu world as well. How well-rounded this young kid is and his mindset and intentions, this guy is going to go super far in the sport. So he's got a, pretty quick turnaround for the UFC debut here against Dan Argueta, who has some good experience in the UFC, but I think he's going to get absolutely iced. Watch out for Cody Haddon. No one knows about this guy yet. Some know. The ones who know. This guy is going to be something special, Cody Haddon. Let's go. No love, Cody Garbrandt was supposed to be on this card as well. That fight has been cancelled against Miles Johns. I'm not sure why. It doesn't say an injury for either guy, but always exciting to see Cody Garbrandt in a fight, even though, the tail end of his career, he's really changed and adjusted as a fighter. But the guy's crazy and still to this day, one of the fastest fighters in that division. So unfortunately, we won't get to see Cody Garbrandt in the Apex this weekend. But like I said, this card is full of awesome fights, not the biggest names, but for an Apex card, it's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one. It's like I said, we're not getting Spivak Tybura 2, so let's enjoy it. A little bit of a come down from all the amazing UFC cards we've had recently. But if you guys are into boxing, we have a fucking awesome boxing fight this weekend. Beterbiev versus Bivol, unifying the light heavyweight division. Watch that Riyadh season. That is just your weekend in combat sports sorted right there. And to have this Apex card on top, we're blessed. If you guys could like and subscribe, I would really, really appreciate it. I look forward to talking again soon.